Hello, everybody. Thank you guys for hanging out with me again this week. Good to see you guys. I know we have a lot of folks that are coming in right now. I'm really happy to be here again. So just a thank you to Backstage for creating this series and for inviting me to speak with you every week. And for those of you guys that don't know, I've been collaborating with Backstage for many years, and you guys can all see the article archive on Backstage and read all the articles that I've been writing. So thank you again to Backstage for putting this on. It's a really awesome service to actors. And I'm really excited to hang out with you guys and show you how to liberate yourself from fear in seconds. Yes, seconds. It's not some crazy, mental game or something that takes a long time. Something that I've talked about before, you guys, is that, and thank you for watching the videos. I know a lot of you are coming back to watch this after watching the other videos that I've done. Your great work, whether it's your great career work, your great acting choices, the brave and dangerous choices to go in to guarantee a win in the audition room, have nothing to do with your effort, but everything to do with your impact. So again, time is not the measure of great work, career or acting wise. So welcome again to those of you who are just joining us. My name is Joseph Pearlman. And at my studio, we help actors launch their careers faster and reach Oscar potential on set. And we have online Zoom classes from beginner to celebrity level actors. At my studio, we believe that you can launch your dream career faster and with less effort when you're lit up with fun. And we welcome you to watch the acting and career transformations live from anywhere in the world. You guys are invited to attend a free audit in one of my weekly online Zoom classes, including the masterclass, which is a small group of our celebrity series lead level actors getting a workout every Thursday. And I'll tell you how you can, get a free audit a little bit later. And what we're doing is we're working with these phenomenal actors on currently casting major film and TV auditions or booked roles to go into a room and guarantee a win, both in the audition room and on set. So let's dive in. How to liberate yourself from fear in seconds. Let's talk about this. The single biggest thing holding actors back from their dream careers is fear. It's an emotion. It's not an intellectual thought, you guys. It's not rational. And there are many different kinds of fear. There's like fear of being too big. When you know how to act, again, we talk about this. It's not enough to be good. You have to be great. This is the Olympics. And when you're at the Olympics and you're an actor, you're past the point of no return. Your acting's not going to be too big, but you have to make big, brave, bold choices. So the fear of being too big, or the fear of not being interesting enough, or the fear of somebody getting angry at you if you pick up the phone to pitch yourself, or just the fear, just a generalized fear. Let's be real right now, you guys. Like, one of the first things I like to do in the classes is to check in with you. It's a bit of an accountability session for the actors. Yes, I want to know, is it busy for you? Is it slow? What's going on? But I kind of want to know how you're feeling, how you're doing. There's a lot of anxiety and there's a lot of fear about what we're dealing with right now, specifically. As exciting as the industry is right now, with all of the opportunity and all of the jobs and the ability to reach out to the people you've always dreamed of, we're still dealing with something that can induce fear in and of itself. So you guys have heard this before. Fear cannot be simply defeated by somebody saying, use it, or pretending it doesn't exist. I can't tell you how many opinions I've heard about people telling you how to battle nerves or anxiety or fear, and it has to do with sort of just use it, or it doesn't really exist. Well, you know what? It's like, or to deny its existence. What was your first gut response to this nonsense advice? Mine was BS. BS, because if I'm afraid and I'm feeling anxiety, you know what? I'm going to feel it. Okay? So no, you simply cannot pretend it doesn't exist. Pretending it doesn't exist is trying to solve the problem of fear on a rational level within the context of the problem. And I've mentioned this a lot, but one of my favorite quotes is by Einstein. And Einstein says this: no problem can be solved using the same level of consciousness that created it. I'll say that again. I really love that because it sets the stage for what we're going to talk about today. No problem can be solved using the same level of consciousness that created it. That includes fear. What does that mean? Well, we talk about it all the time in acting. Your best choices are never going to be found in the text. They're going to be born from the text. And with regards to a career, acting career stuff, is you cannot figure out how you're going to get from point A to A-list career or whatever you want to do in your career, working all the time in a way that anybody's ever done it, in a way that is pre-prescribed, prefabricated. So no problem can be solved from the level of consciousness that created it means after you've looked at the problem, you have to forget the problem in order to find an incredible solution. Does that make sense? You have to detach from your idea of it. Stella Adler said this, and I've mentioned it before: facts, F-A-C-T-S, facts are death to an actor until they're fed through imagination and become experience. And what does that mean? Is that all the facts in the world that we're looking at in our head and ideas and things we write down to solve the problem don't mean anything until they're turned into experience. And that's the same. It's the same with regards to fear. You think about this, like you're packing for a trip, whether it's a camping trip or getting ready for a date or whatever it is. All the planning in the world is not going to do a darn bit of good until you actually get in there and have that experience. Well, it's possible to trigger that experience before the event. So I think it's important to talk about that. You cannot come from a place of eliminating fear by just thinking it away or trying to solve it at its level. It must be displaced by hotter and more fun emotions. Okay? Simply put, you must out-fun fear, to burn through the fog of fear, to be under the influence of emotions that obliterate fear. Do you know what I'm saying? So we have to displace it with something else, coming at it from a whole other level of consciousness. To melt it, to vaporize it. How? Emotionally, with emotional choices. And I'm going to speak more about how to do this later. One of the coolest quotes I've ever heard, and couldn't be more true. Now, you guys know when you feel an emotion, we feel it in our bodies, whether it's anxiety or happiness. We feel a body feeling of it. Maybe it's in our chests, maybe it's a certain color, maybe it's in our gut, maybe it's tingling in our feet. One of my favorite philosophers, Alan Watts, said this. I don't know if you guys ever listened to Alan Watts, but he is incredibly inspiring and will take me right out of a place of fear or anxiety by listening to him. And he said this, and this blew my mind: anxiety and laughter are the same emotions, but from different points of view. Anxiety and laughter are the same emotions, but from different points of view. They're the same emotions, but from different levels of consciousness. So the feelings we feel when we feel anxiety or fear or happiness, they're like the same feelings and the same emotions, and they're only anxiety or fear or happiness because of the story that we give it, because of the attitude that we place on it. And if you cut the story off, cut away the story, there is no difference between anxiety and ecstasy. And I thought it was so brilliant that quote. Again, we have to out-fun fear, not outsmart it, but out-fun it, burn through the fog of it, not pretend it's not there. The truth alleviates fear. Okay, the truth alleviates fear. It's the unknown of this industry that induces fear. Same with what's going on right now with the virus. It's all the true stuff is almost a welcome relief, even though it's potentially not fun news. It's kind of nice to get the truth from people. Don't you agree? I agree, and I can always tell when it is true. So let's get real here. Fact. Again, let's ground ourselves in what's actually happening here. Fact. It's not enough to be good. You have to be great. This is the Olympics. Unfortunately, there are a lot of folks. It's like the equivalent of they decide they want to play the tuba, and within 6 weeks, they think they want to audition in front of the New York Philharmonic or the LA Philharmonic. Does that make sense? So no, in 6 weeks, you don't get great. But it is possible to get great faster when you are lit up with fun. Everybody is scared, you guys. Everybody experiences fear, not all the time, okay? Not just you. Everybody's afraid. Writers are afraid. Directors are afraid. Producers are afraid. Casting directors are afraid. Agents and managers are afraid. And every one of those people are people. We're all people. Steven Spielberg used to tell this story that before the table read of every new movie, he would always have to pull the car over on the side of the road to throw up because he was terrified. And then once he got that out, he could get started with the film. So everybody's afraid. And some of the different fears are like this, you guys. Like, what if they don't like me? What if my choices are too big or too out there? What if they get angry at me? Like I said earlier, if you call them. Agents and managers can be afraid of pitching you. I think a lot of agents and managers never knew it was their responsibility to actually pick up a phone from their company and make hundreds of phone calls for their clients. It takes hundreds of phone calls, not submissions. Submissions are like throwing gum on the wall and seeing what sticks. And sometimes agents and managers are afraid to send your tape in, which is a bigger problem. Your reps should never hold your best tape back. So fear affects everybody at all different levels. The reality is this, and I've had a good 35,000 foot view on it for a while, so I see what works and I see what doesn't work. Actors cannot have a career unless they get over their fear of pitching themselves to major productions. Their fear of pitching. There is a right way and a wrong way to directly pitch yourself for every role that you are right for. To pitch yourself to major writers, directors, and producers, to build and maintain those relationships over the course of your careers, there is another level of consciousness that you can play this, with which you can play this game, okay? And everybody is different, okay? There is no quick solution to it. Everybody is different, but there is a way out of what I call the herd mentality, what the American Idol masses are doing to bang down the door. Nobody's getting through that door, okay? Steve Jobs said this: the ability to use the phone properly separates the doers from the dreamers in any field. Again, the ability to use the telephone properly separates the doers from the dreamers. Jimmy Iovine, I think I'm pronouncing his name properly, big music producer. There was a documentary made about him. He said, quote, "Make fear a tailwind instead of a headwind." And I love that quote. Jimmy Iovine, make fear a tailwind pushing you forward instead of a headwind pushing you back. And someone else, David Richo, an author, said, act while you feel fear rather than waiting until you feel unafraid. Just because you're afraid doesn't mean you can't be moving forward and acting. Don't pretend it doesn't exist, as I said before, but move forward with it. So let's examine some of the stories that we're telling each other that may contribute to the fear that we feel sometimes. And I've talked about this before, you guys. One of my favorite authors, Noah Yuval Harari, talks about the dangers of stories that we tell each other, and most especially the dangers of stories that involve suffering. Okay? Now is the time, right now, to tell a different story out loud with emotion about what's happening in our careers. I've said it before, and I said it in the last video, how to teleport yourself to an A-list career. How you feel now is what you get. How you feel is what you get a minute from now, an hour from now, a year from now. And it's possible to absolutely switch, transform whatever feeling of fear you're having into a feeling of ecstasy in seconds. So now's the time to tell a different story. What are the stories? What are the stories that you guys are telling yourself about having a career? What are the mountains that you're putting in front of you? Because I promise you that those are illusions of mountains. What is the ladder that you're setting in front of you, the rungs that you have to climb up? It's time to tell a different story, not to be delusional. It's because it's possible. You guys, anything that's capable of being done, you can do it. And there's a faster way to teleport from point A to point B. As I've mentioned before, Jason Bateman said in an Emmy Awards acceptance speech, he said, you guys are just one job away from something huge happening in your career. And if you can just get a grip on that, it's like there is no more mountain of suffering that you have to climb. So stories that involve suffering are not good because we're stuck to them. And even if the portal to your career were to just open, you would still potentially be stuck on that story. But wasn't I supposed to do it this way? Wasn't I supposed to do it that way? Every actor thinks it's they should just get an agent or a manager. I wrote an article for Backstage, why you should stop looking for agents and managers. Okay? Agents and managers don't want to be looked for, and 99% of agents and managers don't do the one thing that's needed to help you strategize. And part of what's needed is to personally like their clients and respect them, their work. And they don't pick up the telephone to pitch them. They don't make the hundreds of calls necessary. So it's time to destroy these limiting stories, these limiting beliefs right now. Simon Sinek, the public speaker, author, said the opportunity right now, you guys, I just, here's what I want to do. All I want to do in any of the talks I'm giving you guys is to make you so excited about the opportunities that we have right now. I just want you guys, because you can be so excited about them. The opportunities are infinite and limitless. So I really mean this. I'm slowing down right now to check in with you guys. If we can just start to feel amazing right now, because there is amazing just at the dinner table for all of us right now. It's like maybe we can just let all that other crap drop away for a little bit. So, yeah. Simon Sinek says this, the opportunity is what will we be, not how do we preserve what we had. Okay? Not how do we go back to what we had. He said that's having an infinite mindset. I want you guys to have an infinite mindset with me. Okay? I want you to feel what that's like, because it's limitless and it's joyful and beautiful. I want to tell you a story here. I had a Korean actor client who's with a rep who doesn't believe in her and thus doesn't pitch her for major roles. And when I say pitch, I mean get on the phone, because if you're not on the phone, you're not pitching. If you're not on the telephone, you're not pitching. Okay, the telephone is how you start. You'll never burn your hand using a phone, and you'll never catch on fire, ever. This manager, this rep criticizes her acting and demands that she put a lot of things on tape for him to prove herself. I mean, this is toxic all around. The whole professional relationship is off balance and veering into unhealthy territory. He's afraid. It's fear. Your agent and manager should not only absolutely trust in you and your work, they should personally like and respect you. If your reps don't have faith in your abilities enough to pick up the phone and pitch you hard, and they need to know how to sell you when they pick up the phone. And that is also partly your responsibility as well, too, to put together that A-list branding. If your reps can't do that, if they can't pick up the phone and pitch you hard, you need to move on, or rethink how you're going to do it on your own, because there's a right way through that to do it on your own, period. Staying with a rep who lets you languish on their roster without pitching you is like dating somebody who won't introduce you to their friends. It's the same thing. It's crazy. It's a relationship that isn't going anywhere. So I worked with this actor and I put her on tape for a major feature with an award-winning top Korean director. As always, I helped her to make the brave and fun choices to guarantee a win in the audition room. And guaranteeing a win is getting a callback, booking the role, somebody falling in love with you and saying, wow, really popping a head off a laptop. This client was thrilled with the work, loved the finished product. 2 weeks later, this actor comes into class, looking somber and unhappy. And I asked her what was wrong, and she told me that her rep hated the video, that the acting was too big, and they both had concerns given the absence of a response from casting. I told her, your rep shouldn't be saying things to you like this. He's not a director. He's not your acting coach. He's your manager. He's your agent. Sure, everybody has opinions, but most reps know that their opinions about their client's work or ability should be kept private. Remember, your reps should absolutely believe in you as an actor. And I asked this actor what her thoughts, I asked her again, what her thoughts on the performance was, because she felt amazing about it. And she said, now that I've had some time to think about it, I really thought it was totally wrong and totally off, and I didn't think it was good. And she was immediately filled with fear and self-doubt. It was clear this like dysfunctional rep had influenced her in combination with the silence from casting about the role. I reminded her that she loved the work, that it was fun for her. I wouldn't have given it the stamp of approval if I hadn't thought it was her best acting and would guarantee a win. And now guess what happened? I prodded her and I asked her, I said, are you sure your agent sent the tape? Did he follow up? Did he follow up? Did you follow up with casting? It turns out that neither the agent nor the actor had followed up with casting, which was odd, since the client had recently, we had gone through how to specifically follow up. I told her that I was going to personally reach out to the casting director to figure out if they actually received the tape, to get feedback. With all the like craziness of the business, you guys, like, why crap on a solid performance if you haven't even made an attempt to follow up? So I sent a simple, powerfully worded email that was preceded by a phone pitch to my client. To the person, I sent it to the person identified as the casting director, only to find out later that this person was actually the writer, director, and producer who was helping with casting for the project. He immediately responded to me, telling me that this actor I worked with was the top 3 finalists and that she was also his personal favorite submission. He explained that she ultimately wasn't selected for the part due to something totally out of her control, like a physical attribute she had no control over. They were looking for someone who fit a more ethnically Chinese look. And he finished the email by saying that as a Korean American, he was thrilled to see her perfect Korean language ability on her reel. And he actually wants to work with her on an upcoming feature, on a new feature, on another one. And here was an amazing audition win for this client, but she would have never known about it. And guess what, you guys? I hear this story all the time, okay? It was fear from the actor, fear from the reps, when the most amazing opportunity was right there. I will take some questions in a little bit, but I want to keep sharing some of this stuff with you. Here's what that situation helps us realize. You guys have to always believe in your instincts. Reps who don't believe in you, honestly, anybody who doesn't believe in you, they're going to stagnate your career. Stop listening to people who engage in fear-based decision-making. Stop listening to other actors' fear-based advice or stories of suffering. Turn it off. You guys, sometimes with all of the media hitting us, all the digital media, it sometimes feels like we're a waste receptacle for so much stuff, and we don't realize a lot of it is this like suffering-based, these suffering-based stories that are coloring the way we see things. I've mentioned this before, but another one of the quotes that I live by is by Max Planck, the father of quantum physics. And he said, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Think of that with regards to emotion and the Alan Watts quote. The difference between anxiety and laughter, fear and laughter, is just your point of view. The body feeling is the same thing. So following up is so important, is just as important as the actual audition. Getting the feedback, making sure the tape was received. There are 3 parts to high-level actor strategy, you guys, and it's possible to be first to compete. I said this before, by the time something's currently casting, it's too late to really compete if you don't have irons in the fire, if you haven't staked a relationship miles before with the production team, with the network. So the pre-game strategy is just as important as the game of strategy. Knowing how to guarantee a win with your acting choices is just as important as your follow-up strategy. It's a 3-pronged strategy you have to implement for every role you want to put a flag in and make your own. Matthew McConaughey talks about this. It was a fun story I mentioned in another video. He came to one of our studio bar nights some years ago and talked about what gets him up in the morning. It's that feeling of putting a flag in something, staking something, making it his own. Actors, this is what you signed up for. Do you love acting? I wrote a piece called, Do You Really Love Acting? I really do think the majority of you guys truly love acting. You can put it in the comments if you want to. Do you truly love acting? Or are you in love with the results of what this career could bring? But do you truly love it? Do you need it? Does it get you up in the morning? I really hope so, and I think so. So this is what you signed up for. And you gotta lean into the fear, not pretend it doesn't exist. You gotta lean into it until we can blast out of it, until we can destroy it and blast it away. How to obliterate fear. How to obliterate fear in seconds, not by pretending it doesn't exist or listening to advice about how to just use it. BS. Fear has to be displaced by a more powerful and more fun emotion. Confidence, fun, explosive happiness. But confidence, you guys, think of confidence. Confidence is self-sustaining. When you are lit up with fun and lit up with confidence, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to show anybody. It is self-sustaining. It has this half-life. It stays with you until something changes it. Okay? We talk about this in the acting all the time. And again, I invite you guys to watch for free one of our online Zoom classes. You can see the actors transforming in seconds and lighting up with that confidence. So confidence is self-sustaining. It'll stay lit up. And I help the actors find your best acting choices, you guys, are never found in the text. They're born from it, okay? And I help them distill what I call a hook. What is a hook? It is so exciting. It's one of the most exciting things people see when they come watch the work. The hook is a product of about 99 questions that I ask the individual actors, and I don't give them any answers. Remember, don't let anybody give you their suggestions. Don't go to playback of your work. It's a preoccupation with results, and it can be toxic. You know the acting is great because you feel it, okay? You know what great acting feels like, and at the core is fun. If it's not fun, it's not working. So after 99 questions, we find the hook, and all the training melts off. The scaffolding flies off, and the hook is this deeply emotional, improvisational body attitude under 5 words. It's the thing that lights you up in seconds. You guys, the difference between good and great in acting, in life, but in acting is this little bit extra. The difference between good and great, are you starting every scene emotionally lit up instead of empty? emotionally lit up and then letting it go instead of empty. The hook is, how do we activate an emotional light up in 1 second so it's on the tip of our fingers to light yourself up? It's the same work I'll do with people who are presenting TED Talks or speaking at the UN or coaching a World Health Organization meeting or Doctors Without Borders. It's the same light up. And you can use it as a way to obliterate fear. So why are your best choices never found in the text? That's the obvious level of consciousness. Remember, Einstein said, no problem can be really, really well solved using the same level of consciousness that created it, okay? So we grow things from the script and we grow them into this other level of consciousness. And at the end, we find this hook and it's instant access to a full emotional preparation, a full emotional light up. So the hook is a way, what the hook does, it triggers this overwhelming wash of emotion. And when that happens, as you guys know, there is no more fear present. It's not an issue. There's no thinking that needs to happen. It is, what are you lighting yourself up with? And how do you get to that light up literally in seconds? I've talked about this at length in some of the other videos as well too, some of the process that we use. But again, come and watch it for free. Be my guest from anywhere online. And the difference between good and great, you guys, is that little bit extra. It's that little bit extra in life. You notice it. Someone's just talking and they're listening. It's very easy to talk and listen. It's very hard to pull that spark of confidence, that spark of fun, that spark of light up out of someone that didn't have it to begin with. When actors tell me, well, they're afraid to make that big, brave choice, your job in an audition room is to stand out, by the way. When actors say, I'm afraid to make that choice, I'll tell them the consistent feedback we get from casting is always this. Joseph, we can always pull an actor back, okay? We can always pull you back to something obvious or something easy, but we can never pull that big, brave choice out of you if you didn't have the guts to show it to us to begin with, to lay it down on the floor. So what are we really afraid of here, you know? Everyone, you know, we talk about this. It's like all these methods and techniques for telling you how you should battle your fears and nerves and anxieties. It involves trying very hard to convince you not to be nervous, or repeating yourself that you're indeed worthy of success, or that the feeling is perfectly normal and you should just use it. And again, I say BS. And I think maybe you guys do too. I agree with the concept of using it, but it's a superficial solution to a more complex problem. We're all different. There's no one-size-fits-all approach to like redirecting and alleviating your specific fear. You guys who are watching this from all over the world. So again, you guys, what we believe here at the studio, what I personally believe is that fear of any kind can be completely vaporized and obliterated when you are lit up and under the influence of fun and sharp, impactful, and fun emotional choices. So one of my clients, I'm going to tell you another story. One of my clients is so terrified when she walks into an audition room that she can feel and hear her heart pounding out of her chest. And after helping her find the hook that in 1 second to activate a full emotional light up. So again, you guys, what is a hook? The hook is the thing that I help the actors find that makes it so they don't have to act. It's lighting yourself up with something that's super fun and then letting it go, and then you're off the hook. You don't have to act anymore. So after helping her find this light up, this hook, I asked her how many heartbeats she noticed. The answer was none. That doesn't mean that her heart wasn't racing and it didn't, or that she didn't notice it, because she was dialed in. And if you're focused on your nerves, you guys, you're going to get more of that. Remember, you get how you feel. Like what you feel is what you get. Period. What do you think would happen, you guys, to fear if you just fell in love? Anybody? What do you think would happen to fear if you fell in love? Imagine if you were getting out of a car, walked to the elevator, time stood still, and for a solid 10 seconds, the universe blinked in unison with you as you stood and stared at the person who undoubtedly was your star-crossed lover. you would then enter the audition room or your next life moment with a far more powerful emotion coursing through your veins, having communed and finally met your soulmate. And it would be way more compelling than any fear-based emotion that you would be feeling. Does that make sense? I want you guys to get that fear needs to be out-thunned, out-dangered, and then it's gone, and then it's not a problem, and then we don't have to worry about it anymore. Your preparation as an actor has to be like that, you guys. When the stakes are high, your preparation has to be tighter, hotter, stronger, so that it can lift you out of the nerves. And when you walk into an audition or on set with a light up like that, it cannot be ignored. It's going to pop somebody's head off their laptop. It is so compelling. And I always tell you guys this, the notes that we get from the producers when our clients book the roles are this: thank you for being the only one willing to take a risk in the audition room. That was the reason why we didn't need to show anybody else to the network. That note was from J.J. Abrams to one of our actors, the incredible actor Annie Chang, who's also a teacher at the studio, one of the coaches. And the other thing that the producers say when you're lit up with fun in the audition is, it wasn't at all what we were looking for, it was better. So it wasn't at all what we were looking for, you guys, it was better than what we were looking for. Yeah. It becomes your job then, you guys, to discover what lights you up, what turns you on in life with regards to the scenes. It's not your job to figure out how to play the character. It's your job to figure out what it means to you to play the character under the influence of what emotions. It's your job to figure out under what conditions would it be possible for me to feel this, not for some idea of the character, not you in your personal life. Remember, you guys, we are infinite beings. Whether we've experienced or not, we are all capable of relating and identifying with an infinite amount of experience, right? Why are we limiting our emotional choices to things that we've actually felt in our lives when we have infinity to sort of pull from? So I help the actors to go into the room and guarantee a win by guiding them to their hottest and most impactful emotional choices. The choices will always unequivocally defeat your fear, either in an audition or on set. And if you feel like your preparation is rock solid and you have a great hook to launch into the scene, but when you get to the waiting room, your heart starts to race, or before you go in for a live Zoom audition, you start sweating, you begin to shake, it's okay. You can still do a phenomenal job and you can still book the role, because when you first go into a live audition experience, remember, you guys, these people want to know who you are before you are as an actor. I always tell the actors, don't sort of whip yourself up into an emotional preparation out in the hall before you come in a room. You'll miss the interview opportunity. One of my favorite people and casting directors, her name is Heidi Levitt. She's Oliver Stone's casting director. She's a phenomenal person, phenomenal casting director. Says, Joseph, the first thing we do when an actor comes into a room virtually or in person is we want to interview them as a human being. And we'll find a time to do it. But just so you know that, you guys, the first thing is they're going to want to interview you. Yeah. Some actors think that any sign of fear means it's all over. It's not. If your body starts to freak out, it's fine. Let your body have its freak out, lean into it. Just tell yourself, I'm having a freak out. Don't fight it. Don't act like it's the end of the world. Freaking out over your freak out is the worst thing to do. It gives your fears more power, more agency. Have a sense of humor about it. It can, it'll take the edge off. Like on a first date, you guys, an audition begins the moment casting or producers lay eyes on you, which can often be before you step foot in a room. Yeah. So before walking into an audition room, one of my brave clients always lights himself up with the attitude, I'm the fucking solution to the problem. Another effective trick to lift the nerves out of your body within seconds is to simply say to yourself, I already did it, and now I get to go back in and do it again. It's a really cool thing to kind of blow that fear away before you go in and you're nervous. Say to yourself, I already did it, and now I get to do it again. Even though you didn't, I always take a breath when I say that. It's just a little something I want you guys to put in your pocket, just a little life hack. for acting. Just say to yourself, it's as if you already did it, and now you get to go back and do it again. And again, you guys, it's like adopt the attitude, start to adopt the attitude now that I've already made it, and live every day as if you're having the career of your dreams. Live it every day. Say to yourself, whatever version of that to you, and don't think it. Don't write it down. Say to yourself, I've already made it. And feel that power. I wish you guys all the love in the world. Please take great care of yourselves. Come and join us. Come and watch the breakthroughs every week. You can watch a free audit. Go to josephpearlman.com, pearlman.com. Reach out to us. We'll schedule you a free audit in my masterclass if you'd like to watch that from anywhere in the world, online via Zoom. And again, Backstage, I can't thank you guys enough for offering this platform and giving all this amazing content and support to actors everywhere. So I'll take a couple questions right now. And thank you guys for hanging out and being a part of this. You're very welcome, Allison. Yeah. Cool, that's great. Someone did an audition once, lost the lines, and they were able to find their way through. That is terrific, Patrick. And best way to email, if you want my email, is to the studio is info@josephpearlman.com. Again, PEARLMAN.info@josephpearlman.com, or our website, www.josephpearlman.com. You're very welcome. Kathy Young, pleasure, you guys. Really, you know, one thing I'll share with you before we go, something really cool. We're all people. We're all in this together. I want you guys to adopt the attitude that, like, we're all colleagues, you know? We're all colleagues. I always say to you guys, casting directors, agents, managers, writers, directors, producers, network executives who respect actors, schedule general meetings with actors. That's what industry professionals do with actors. They schedule general meetings with actors. And I've talked about it quite a bit. But there is something that I would like to share with you guys before we go. It's just an audit. You're watching series lead, celebrity level actors actually have breakthroughs every time they get up, transformations on currently casting major film and TV auditions or booked roles. We have stars of Netflix shows. Over 90% of our actors at the studio are working actors, and they're currently engaged in projects right now. And the last thing I want to share with you guys is this. It was something from Simon Sinek. And he said this, and it's really important, and I'll leave you with it before we head off, is as you guys are reaching out to the people you've always dreamed of reaching out to, as you are figuring out and strategizing who you'd like to build game-changing, career-changing relationships with, make it about them, not about you. Remember, I've said this before, don't let your need to be liked or accepted get in the way of your best acting or showing people who you really are. Don't let your need or like to be accepted get in the way of showing people the beautiful humanity that you guys are. 100%, Simon Sinek talks about this, 100% of the people in this industry, whether it's the top producers, writers, directors, casting directors, or you, 100% of these people are people. 100% of actors are people. 100% of your team members, the people you work with, your reps, your strategy teams, your acting coaches, your acting community, they're all people. And Simon says this, I don't care how good your product is, your acting, your marketing, your work, your resume, your reel, your performance. If you don't understand people, you don't understand this business. And that means, you guys, we're social animals, he said. Our survival depends on our ability to form trusting relationships. Yeah. And when you're attached to an outcome, it's robbing you of all your creative impulses. But when you move out of that space, when you move to that other level of consciousness, and you can light up with fun, you're free, and nerves don't exist anymore, and fear doesn't exist anymore, and anxiety doesn't exist anymore. I think it was Stella Adler. I can't remember, but yeah. So really figure out who are the people that you're meeting with, and know what they're doing. Like, know what they've produced, know what they've cast, pay tribute to them, ask them how they're doing, check in with them, make it about them, not about you. And we all know how that feels. Much love to you guys. Thank you very, very much. I can't wait to connect with you guys again. I believe the regular time is now going to be for the Backstage YouTube live events, Thursdays, 11 a.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. And I can't wait to hopefully see you guys as well. Come do a free audit, reach out to us through our website, watch the transformations, watch this stuff happening in front of you. And until the next time, take care, you guys. Be well.